Spanish investigators have several questions concerning the crash of an express train that killed at least 80 people. They want to know how fast the train was actually going. And they're trying to determine if failure to properly use an automatic braking system might be to blame. They're hoping information contained in a data recorder taken from the train will provide some answers.
It's a fast, modern train like so much of rail travel in Europe and the rest of the world, and to the untrained eye, it just seems to take the corner too fast. Well, that may well turn out to be the official explanation as well. The death toll here is staggering, at least 80 dead, still over 90 hospitalized. And here's another way of putting it. The train is feared to have been going faster going into that turn than even the fastest train in this country can travel on a straightaway.
190 kilometers an hour instead of the 80 allowed. It's official. The accident was caused by excessive speed. When he approached the curve before the crash, one of the two conductors radioed in.
I'm going 190.
The first carriage slammed into the bend, dragging the rest of the train with it. The first four carriages passing under the bridge and sliding against the wall. The back carriages smashed into one another, and one of them was thrown onto the road 5 meters above.
Investigators have confirmed that when the train came out of this tunnel and hit the bend, it was speeding. But we don't know why it was travelling so fast. The answer lies with the driver, who is now under formal investigation, and with the wreckage, which they're now recovering from the trackside. This is the film from the trackside camera that recorded the moment of impact. In it, you see the middle carriages buckle and tip. 15-year-old Elena Reguero was a passenger in one of those carriages. She was travelling to see her grandmother.
The train started going really fast, and all the luggages fell, and then the next thing I remember, I was covered by seats and luggage and bodies, and my leg was trapped.
There were more than 220 people on board the Alvia service from Madrid to Spain's northwest Galicia region. Many of them were pilgrims or holiday makers. Emergency services worked through the night in their search for bodies and survivors. They were helped by local residents who are still watching in disbelief hours later as the emergency phase of this operation turns to a recovery one in an effort to clear the tracks.
Where there was meant to be celebration, there is now mourning. Annual festivities in honour of St James the Apostle have been called off in Santiago de Compostela following the fatal train crash. I agree if they close everything, all businesses, but you can see that there are bars open, says this fairground stall holder. I think the businesses we have here are businesses like any other. This area is normally a magnet for tourists, and there are lots of people here, but apparently not as many. Especially today, there are much less people in the streets, less work, says this restaurant waiter. People are not so enthusiastic, they're much more sad. Tourists are disappointed that the festivities have been called off, but they say they understand the reasons why.
Officials declared several days of nationwide mourning. In addition to many Spaniards, the injured included several Americans and a Briton.
The show of support has been pouring in all day at this hospital for the victims of the train crash, and now at the very highest level, the King and Queen of Spain.
After visiting some of the patients, the King sent a message. All Spaniards feel the pain of the families, he says, as if they were our own. The pain here at the hospital and across town at the morgue.
Spain's Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy knows this northwest corner of Spain well. He was born here. He met relatives of the victims and then visited the injured. Local hospitals overwhelmed by demand.
I'd like to speak in my name and the name of the government of Spain and all of those Spaniards who might feel represented by what I'm going to say. I'll express my regrets to all the families of all the people who have died.
After the victims had been removed, emergency services began to clear the site. A prosecutor was appointed to lead an inquiry into the cause, the splintered train, potential evidence.